These are going to be the solutions to the homework problems on page 169, going through 171. We're going to do 1 through 33 odd. I believe the problems will be going over here. So taking a look here first at number 1, we have OE equals 4 and WE equals 8. Now we're told that we're looking at a parallelogram here, which means opposite sides are congruent and diagonals bisect each other. And what we're asked to find is name two segments congruent to segment WE. Well, now WE is obviously congruent to this piece here, which actually this is a typo, should be CR. And then another segment that's got a length of 8 would be CE, because diagonals bisect each other. These are both 4. So it's CR and CE. For number 3, it says if WR is perpendicular to CE, now that means we're actually going to erase what we have previously here. Okay, WR is perpendicular to CE, so we've got a right angle here. Name all segments congruent to WE. Well, it means WE, if this is perpendicular, that means we have a rhombus here. So that means all sides here are congruent. So the segments congruent to WE would be ER, RC, and CW. Oops. Sorry, that goes in here, number 3. I forgot we're doing the odds. All right, moving on. Number 5, we're told we have a parallelogram to start with for all of these, and we're supposed to find the values of A, B, X, and Y. Now, A and B here are lengths of sides, and since it's a parallelogram, opposite sides are congruent, so A is simply 8 and B is simply 10. Okay, pretty simple. And X and Y, opposite angles of a parallelogram are congruent, so Y is 62. And X and Y, these two are going to add up to 180, so this is going to be 128. Okay. Number 7. Here we have another parallelogram. Opposite sides are congruent, so B is 3 and A is 5. And since same side interiors have to be supplementary, this whole thing and this whole thing have to be supplementary, then 38 plus Y plus the 120 is going to be equal to 180, because those two sets of angles there are supplementary. So it's Y plus 158 equals 180, so Y is 22. Next up, number 9. Here we have another parallelogram. We're told it's parallelogram. Opposite sides are congruent, so B is 8. The diagonals bisect each other, so A is 8 because these two have to be congruent, and these two things have to be congruent. So this piece would be 9, not that we need it. Okay? Now, to find X and Y here, it's going to get a little bit trickier. Just erase some of the stuff we have here. We know that for number 9, we're told we have a 26-degree angle here and a 56-degree angle here. Well, this 26 transfers up here also, and this 56 transfers right here also. Okay, and if you look here, this triangle has an 8 side and another 8 side, and most people will miss that and miss that this is an isosceles triangle here, especially because I didn't draw it very well. Okay, but that means X is a base angle with the 56, so that's 56. And the two of these add up to 112 together, so this one has to be 68. Okay, because these three angles add up to 180. So what a lot of people miss is the isosceles triangle here. Okay. Number 11. We're supposed to find the perimeter of parallelogram RISK. All right, so I'm going to draw RISK. If RI is 17 and IS is 13, to find the perimeter, we just know that opposite sides are going to be congruent. So we have 34, which is 17 plus 17, and 13 times 2 is 26. So the two of these added together is 60. All right. Now 13, 15, those are proofs here. We're just going to go through the other problems till we get, we're going to go to 19 here. Again, we have a parallelogram, and we know that opposite sides are congruent. So 2x plus 8 is equal to 14. So now we have some solving to do afterwards, after we set up the equal parts. Still not so bad. And 3y equals 15. So y is 5. Okay, 21. If we're looking to find x and y here, since this is a parallelogram, these sides are parallel. So that means this angle and this angle are opposite interiors. So 35 is equal to 6y plus 5. So 30 equals 6y, and y is 5. Now to find x, this 5x, the 35, and the 80 are three angles of a triangle right here. Okay, so 80 and 35 adds up to 115. So 115 plus the 5x equals 180. And then we subtract 115 from both sides, and we get 5x equals 65. And x turns out is 13. Okay, moving on. 23. We're looking here at, I think this problem looks a little funky here, but this length here is 2x plus 2y. Right, this length here is 2x plus 5y, and this length here is 30. This is 18. Now what we end up with here, with x and y, is first, this 130-degree angle shouldn't even be here. I don't know what it's doing there. Yeah, it doesn't matter. It's not affecting us. So what we have to do is set up a system of equations. So I'm going to say 2x plus 2y is equal to 18. Because the diagonals bisect each other. We also know opposite angles are or opposite sides are congruent, so 2x plus 5y equals 30. Now, I want opposite coefficients, so I'm just going to multiply through by -1 on this top equation. Add the two equations together, and get y equals 12, or y equals 4. Now all I have to do, plug it into one of the equations. So I'll say 2x plus 5 times 4 is 20 equals 30. 2x equals 10, and x is 5. And we've got our x and y solved. All right, 25. We've got kt is 2x plus y. Dt is x plus 2y. Te is 12. And tc is 9. Now again, this is a system of equations, so we have 2x plus -y. Or no, is that not plus positive y? I don't know what I'm thinking. Equals 12. And x plus 2y equals 9. We need to get opposite coefficients. So I'm just going to multiply through the bottom equation by -2. And I'm going to get -2y plus -2x plus -4y equals -18. Top equation stays the same. And we add the two equations together, and we get -3y equals -6. So y is 2. Once we have y is 2 to find x, we just plug it in here. So we have like 2x plus 2 equals 12, because that's plus y there. So 2x equals 10, and x is 5. Alrighty, we're getting somewhere now. Number 27, we have if measure of angle 1 is 3x, and the measure of angle 2 is 4x, and the measure of angle 3 is x squared minus 70, then x equals what? And the measure of angle CED equals what? Well, let's label this picture. Let me, I have to slide this picture up to be able to see again. Angle 1 is 3x. Angle 2 was 4x. Angle 3 was x squared minus 70. Okay, and I'm supposed to find x and the measure of angle CED. Well, CED is this whole angle, so we'll find x first, and then we'll use the fact that these are alternate interiors, the 3x and this angle, and then we'll just add them together once we find x. So for this one, I'm going to say 4x equals x squared minus 70, which means x squared minus 4x minus 70 equals 0. Okay, remember x squared minus 4x minus 70. I'm just going to slide down, give myself some more room. X squared minus 4x minus 70 equals 0. Now we're going to factor. I just realized that I had that set up wrong. I mislabeled it. Sorry about that, but the way it should be labeled is this was 3x, this was 4x, and this is x squared minus 70. So when we solve it, it's 3x equals x squared minus 70, not 4x equals x squared minus 70. So then we get x squared minus 3x minus 70 equals 0. Not much different from what I had there, but it makes a big difference when you're going to try and factor. So when I give myself some more space here, it should be x squared minus 3x minus 70 equals 0. So when we factor, we get x we'll do minus 10 x plus 7. So x is either 10 or negative 7. Now only one of these works. We can't have negative 7 because that would give us a negative angle measure for several of these, which means negative 7's out here because you can't have negative angle measures. You can have negative variables if it works, but this one doesn't. So x is 10. And the measure of that angle, CED, which was the x squared minus 70 plus the 4x, was x squared minus 70, is this whole angle up here. So we're going to have 100 minus 70 is 30. That's angle 3. Plus the 4x, 4 times 10 is 40. So CED is 70 degrees. And that's the end of the problems that we're doing together here. The rest of them are proofs. That'll be a little bit more time consuming.